Shalom. All praise be unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Achak Peace and double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect. Getting right into it. This is from Reuters. IEA proposes largest ever oil release from strategic reserves. Wall Street Journal says. This is March 10th, 2026. Breaking news left and right, man. So many things. I see why the Lord got many different prophets, because it's just so much to cover, man. There's so much ground to cover. All right. It reads here, the International Energy Agency has proposed the largest release of oil reserves in its history to restrain soaring crude prices amid the U.S.-Israel war with Iran. The Wall Street Journal said on Tuesday, citing officials familiar with the matter. The release would exceed the 182 million barrels of oil that IEA member nations put on the market in two releases in 2022 when Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Okay, the IEA called an extraordinary meeting of members on Tuesday, with nations expected to decide on the proposal the following day, the paper added. The plan would be adopted if there were no objections, it said, but protests by even one country could delay the effort. On Tuesday, G7 energy ministers stopped short of agreeing on a release of strategic oil reserves, asking the IEA to assess the situation instead. All right, so they're basically mulling over this. And this is a major red blaring signal that they're in serious deep shit. God, Lord, y'all bless from y'all shy, man. Gotta love it, man. You know, gotta love it. And hey, you know, we gotta give it up to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man. You're making things happen. All right, making things happen. Isaiah 55:11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. So Yahweh Hashem Yahushai's word does not go out void. Okay, it goes out and accomplishes what it was meant to do. All right, which in this case is to prophesy against America, Babylon the Great. Okay, to prophesy against its leaders, to prophesy against Edom, to prophesy against Trump and the elites. He's just a mouthpiece of the elites. Okay? It's all falling apart, man. You can see this guy Nero when he's up there. He looks shook. Doesn't look sure of himself. He's fumbling over his words, making a fool out of himself. You know, they called him out about the school girls that got killed. And basically he said, you know, in not so many words, he said, fuck it, you know. Yes, I'm willing to deal with that. You know, I'm willing to take that on my jacket, so to speak. All right. We see, man, prophecies coming to pass. Okay, this kingdom, we've been saying it's over with and it's through for quite a while, and there's been many signs, but it's never been more apparent than right now. Okay. And just as Nimrod with the Tower of Babel, okay, you know, that was not long after the flood happened, you know, and they didn't learn the lesson, man, which Nimrod is the grandson of Ham. Okay. And yet they did not learn the lesson, man. His grandfather was in the flood. And these bastards, man, these heathen, they don't learn the lesson. Okay. And Esau is not learning from the mistakes and the errors that was made back then. As a matter of fact, we can get into that. All right. Let's see. Yeah, let's get right to it. And Genesis 11:1, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech, which is the Hebrew language, the original language, Lashawan Kodash. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there, which that is between, it's what they call the Fertile Crescent, between the Tigris and the Euphrates. Okay, I believe it would be lower Mesopotamia. Let me just bring that up real quick. Right, so it says here, Shinar is an ancient biblical name for the region of southern Mesopotamia, located in modern-day Iraq, between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Historically and geographically, it corresponds to the land of Sumer and Akkad, encompassing early cities like Babel, Erech, and Calneh, and is known as the setting for the Tower of Babel. All right, because when you look at it, the ark landed in Mount Ararat, which is basically between Turkey and Armenia. All right, it's like right around the border. And that's where the ark landed. And from there, they spread out and they went into this place called Shinar. All right. And we're going to get into it. Okay, about this account. All right. Just to show you the pride, man. You know, pride is the end of these things, man. Genesis 11:2, 3, and they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone and slime. They had for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And they wanted to build that tower because they were afraid of the flood, another flood happening. All right, which the Lord said already that he wouldn't flood the whole earth, although he does flood portions of the earth. He did not. That was a cataclysmic event, a global cataclysm where the Lord wiped out everything except for whatever was on that, wiped all life off earth except for whatever was on the ark, okay, with Noah and his 3 sons and their families, okay? But did they learn from that? No. Okay, they wanted to go ahead and build this tower, and the same thing they're doing now, once again. Okay? And look, they have plenty of towers now. The Twin Towers, One World Trade Center. Those are nothing but modern day towers of Babel. Now they have technology and means to build a bunch of them. And when you look at these heathen, when they go to these penthouses on up top, they are very pompous and they see themselves better than everybody else. They fashion themselves as gods, man. Okay? Because of the feats that they're able to do, architectural feats of making these towers and things like that. But the Lord did what? Confounded them. Okay? And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And Yahweh Shem Yahshua said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have managed to do. Which they have imagined to do. All right. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. Okay, so the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Now look at America. America is an example of the same thing. Okay, a city that you have all these different languages and people, but what is it? It's a ball of confusion. It's a ball of destruction. It doesn't work. It doesn't go anywhere, man, because the Lord is not with it. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because Yahweh Shem Yahushua did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. Right. Because when humanity is united under wickedness, wicked pretenses, it leads to death and destruction. Okay. Whereas under our rulership, which is Yahweh Shai and the elect, it's going to be a righteous order, all right, and a righteous one world government, which is founded through the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and his elect. All right. So, these, what they're doing now is just a modern day version of that. And that's why it's all crashing and burning. Okay. They're trying to, now going back to that article about the strategic reserve, they're releasing that because they underestimated Iran. They underestimated, the response that would come. Okay. And that's what pride will do, man. And pride will have you overestimating your own abilities and accomplishments and underestimating your foes, which is a dangerous mindset to have. And look what's happening now. Okay? But where did you hear it? Now everybody's an expert, right? But the prophet's been saying this, man, which is the mouthpiece of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Hosea 6:5, therefore have I hewed them by the prophets. I have slain them by the words of my mouth. So we don't have to raise a sword or get guns. And the words of the Lord's mouth slays you. The Lord, the words that the Lord puts in our mouth is slaughtering you, because you're subjected to the words of prophecy, and the words of prophecy says what? That this is your doom. Psalms the 9th chapter, Mawaf Laban, is a song of death to the sons. Okay, and thy judgments, I have slain them by the words of my mouth, and thy judgments are as the light that goeth forth. Okay? What does that mean? The light, when you look at the light from the sun, it covers everything. And as it comes past the sky, everything gets hit. We had 2 feet of snow over here in New York a few weeks ago. The sun came out, and now it's all melted. All right? So that's how the Lord's light is. It penetrates everything. Okay, you can't get away from it. All right, and these nations and their wicked conspiracy against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, they about to be confounded, man. They about to be obliterated. Okay, and what are you gonna have as a result of this? Global economic catastrophe. Okay, and you go over there and kill this man and his whole family, and then his son gets up in there, which Trump even said that, which that was, like he was speaking his own judgment into existence, because he even said it when this first started happening with the attacks on Iran and the war. He said, oh, yeah, well, I just worry that somebody worse is going to get up in there. Is there no more wisdom in teaming? And the funny thing is that Nero is a Temanite. His father originates from Germany. All right. He has the name Trump goes back to Trumpf, if I'm not mistaken. All right, but let's read this. Deuteronomy 32 and 39. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. Once the Lord got it out for you, there's nothing that you can do. They're trying to change the narrative to say that, because Esau wants to always be in control. We're making the decision to go to war, and this is the war of Armageddon for Jesus, the return of the Messiah. That's just his pride and his hubris. Him want to be greater than the Most High, to try to say that, he's the one that makes it happen. You see how even though it seemed like a subtle thing, but that's really what he's getting at. And again, it's not subtle. It's out on Front Street. But what I'm saying is him sliding his pride in there. Okay, he'll try to, put himself as a righteous cause, but really it's evil that he's doing. Okay, because dumbass Christians and, the maggers, they'll look at it and say, oh, this is biblical. This is good. It doesn't take much to deceive these people, because they're already dumb, deaf, dumb, and blind. For I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. If I whet my glittering sword, and mine hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to mine enemies, and will reward them that hate me. For 41st verse in the NLT. When I sharpen my flashing sword and begin to carry out justice, I will take revenge on my... Yeah, the Lord painted a picture like a movie, man. That sword, man, he's taking hold of it. And that sword is the sword that's sharpened is the missiles. You know, also Yahweh Shai with the chariot beams. Okay. I will take revenge on my enemies. Okay, the flashing sword, and begin to carry out justice. I will take revenge on my enemies and repay those who reject me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword will devour flesh, the blood of the slaughtered and the captives, and the heads of the enemy leaders. Yeah, they talk about decapitation strike. Yahweh Shai is coming with that decapitation strike on all you world leaders, man. That's why he has many crowns. All right, this whole system is getting ready to be obliterated. Okay, and it's about time, you know. It's all in the Lord's timing, you know, and we don't haste past the Lord, and we know we have to be patient. We have need of patience in this thing, but at the same time, you know, we hasten the day. We desire the day. Okay, and you know, evil has been ruling over the earth for too damn long, you know. So now it's time for vengeance. Now it's time for the Lord to take hold of that glittering, shining sword, man, in order to get revenge. All right, and the economic calamity, man. Let's get in Revelation 6, right? Revelation 6 and 5, right? And it even says the third seal, famine. Okay. When he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand, and the balances represents judgment. All right. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." Okay. And also when you look at balances, that represents economics too. All right. The scriptures are manifold, man. You know, there's different angles. You can wield a sword different ways, right? Swing it different ways, use different techniques. But yeah, if a loaf of bread is for a penny, and you know, a stupid ass nigga will say, "Oh, that's cheap, a penny." Yeah, but this is talking about a denarius. Let's get the word real quick. It's not talking about modern penny. In fact, they already you know, like phasing out pennies. If you look in a lot of places, they rounding up so they don't have to give you pennies because they want to get this cashless society going. All right, denarion. Denarion containing 10, a Roman silver coin in NT time. It took its name from it being equal to 10 asses, a number after 217 BC increased to 16. It was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. From the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it would seem that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wages. And that's from Matthew 20, verses 2 through 13. So the ordinary pay for a day's wages. Right now, if you look at modern times, the way that the economy is, that's about maybe $250 to $300. You know, we could say anywhere $200 to $300, depending where you live. Here in New York, you know, you need to make more because everything is so damn expensive. Okay. But point being, you know, if that's the case, then that means a loaf of bread, okay, a measure of barley, so to speak, okay, a measure of wheat is going to be that much money, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. A measure of wheat and 3 measures of barley for a penny. Okay, a day's pay. And don't waste the olive oil and wine. And the olive oil and the wine means what? The knowledge of wisdom and understanding, because that's more precious than fine gold, more precious than more precious than food, okay, and carnal things. Okay, Lamentations 4:1. How has the gold become dim? How has the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold, how are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter? And that's like you become like unto the heathen. They are those worthless pitchers, man. All right, earthen pitchers, which not to say they're completely worthless, but compared to gold, you know, they don't have nowhere near as much worth as gold. All right, because we're gonna have a use for you heathen in the kingdom. All right, you're gonna be servants. You're gonna bring us the best of what you have, and you're gonna be under us, and you're gonna learn righteous order by serving us. All right, and when I say us, I'm talking about the Israelites, starting with the elect. We pray and hope we get to partake in establishing that kingdom. But the precious sons of Zion, you know, are comparable to fine gold. And now we're finally coming back into that a state of being like fine gold, and especially having the truth in these last days. And you see with the famines and things that's about to pop off, that's why this is written. Isaiah 13:12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. So that means what? A man that, you know, a man that the Lord is dealing with is going to be more precious than gold, man. Okay. And you know, they about to find out, man. All right, how valuable it is to have the knowledge of wisdom and understanding. Knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times. All right. The Heavenly Father is the goldsmith, and we're the gold that he's expelling the impurities away from us, so we can be fine gold. All right. But these calamities that's coming is gonna further bring that to light about who is the true value, who is the man that the Lord is dealing with. Okay, when this come to pass, then you'll know that a prophet was among you. So that's how we know. All right, through the spirit and power held by Shemal Shah. So with that, we'll go ahead and close this thing out. Lord's will was edifying. Continue to stay prayed up. Watch and pray that you enter not into temptation. All right. Lord's will, we can continue on in this thing and get that crown of life at the end, that reward. The salvation is very close. So don't give up. Don't neglect the gift. Don't fall out this fight, because it's just about to get good for those that remain faithful. All praise be unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rachak Wadash. Shalom to the next one.